it short. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
James catches, puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq. A chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long range 3.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? Happy trade deadline day, and what a wild one it was. I'm just waiting for more news of more second rounders that were traded while we are recording here, even though the deadline was 5 hours ago. But hey, I'm Tim Daniel. I am back here with the crew. Very, very excited. We should be having Joshua Odellis Forellis Hayes joining us at some point during this. If he is, we shall see. But I'm here with Mr. Sean Mackey and the host of the rebirth of At Large Bid, Mr. Parker Fields. What up, dudes?
What up?
What up?
Yeah. What a fun deadline, right? Like, so,
Insane deadline.
Took a nap and I was shocked.
One of the most probably active ones that I can remember of the last 15 years. And we didn't think anything was going to happen.
No.
And then I wake up to a text message from Tim that was from 1:30 in the morning because I'm asleep then. And it says that Kevin Durant has been traded to the Suns, and holy shit.
Try waking up with your baby and looking at your phone, just be like, oh, I wonder if there's anything going on. What?
Yeah. Question is Durant getting moved the biggest move like in the history of the deadline, like the biggest player to ever get moved at the deadline?
Yes, I think so. I was trying to think
off-season
about that.
trades maybe, but like deadline for sure, I feel like.
This is in comparison as far as like total season and off season. This is like the only thing I could really think of is Kareem to the Lakers and Shaq to Miami. Other than that,
I was gonna mention Shaq. That was a deadline deal, wasn't it?
No, that was like right. They lost the finals, and
I
then
guess
Kobe was like, "Get him the F out of here."
When
That's
Davis
right.
got
Okay.
moved a few years ago, that was pretty huge. But that's not.
That
He's a little lower than Durant, I'd say, because Davis at the time was a top 5 player. So
yeah, that was wild because Sean and I were like at Kenwood Mall, and he goes, "Hey, it happened. We need to get back to my house and record a podcast right now." So
And we did.
Yeah, and we sure did.
yeah.
That was awesome.
Everybody knew that one was going down, though. Not everybody knew this was going down. Like the Davis thing was like for sure gonna happen for a while.
Yeah, that was gonna happen. That was really fun. And if you remember, like a couple weeks later, the Kawhi Paul George thing happens also in the middle of the night. So that was like just a wild turn of events. But yeah, like there's a lot to unravel here today. There is a lot of trades to discuss. I know one thing I kind of wanted to get to real quick is teams that didn't make moves that we wanted to kind of discuss real quick. And I had been texting you both pretty hard about like the Cavs got to make a move. The Cavs got to make a move. The Cavs got to make a move. And I was really frustrated at first that they didn't. And then I thought more and more about it and was like, you know what? They're core dudes. They all have under control for like 3 to 4 years at the minimum. Brooklyn just traded away their whole team. So that's going to put them in a chance where they can be at the top 4 seed and get a home court advantage.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a ton of money in the offseason because of Mobley's rookie contract and Isaac Okoro's rookie contract. They're still in there. So I'm not as disappointed as I was that they didn't make a move. It would have been cool if they did. But, I think the East kind of opened up for them a little bit more today.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing I would say about the Cavs is by not making a move is they're betting on Isaac Okoro and dudes like that to actually, develop into something better than what they are right now, in my opinion. Because Okoro has been a little bit underwhelming as a prospect. He hasn't been horrible by any means, but he's been a little underwhelming and hasn't really developed much. So them not making a move for another wing is pretty much betting on Isaac Okoro to improve, I would say. And kind of sounds like they're not that confident they can win the title this year by not making a move. And it's next year, 2 years from now.
But also, Okoro, if you hold on to him this year and you hold on to him this summer, you could use him in another trade package on top of that. Mm-hmm. So I think he could be used for a chip, or, like Tim said, they have money to work with. So they're definitely, I feel like they're one thing they are going to look for, if, we can agree they're probably not going to win the NBA title this year. They're just too green. But if they get to the summertime, I feel like they are going to want to upgrade at the wing, and they have some options. They can either trade or sign somebody because they're going to have cash. So they're actually in a, like Tim said, they're in a great spot right now by not trading. But if they would have got OG Anunoby, man, that would have been something.
Yeah.
If they end up having home court, I will 1,000% go up there for game 1 or game 2. I will definitely be in attendance.
And I will be joining you if you're going. I'm riding with you up there if you're going.
Yeah. My wife's aunt and uncle won't mind at all. So you can come up with me. Yeah, dude. It's a cool arena. It's a great atmosphere. I've been to Cavs playoff games on the road in the LeBron era, and those were fun. So I can only imagine what they're like at home when it's like the whole arena's cheering for you instead of just like 70% at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But yeah, it's cool, man. It's awesome. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about a couple of these teams that kind of made some moves. Actually, I don't know. Sean, did you want to touch on the Bulls? Because I know we're both pissed off they didn't do anything.
The Bulls,
they never do anything.
The Bulls are once again trash. They are the worst organization in professional sports. They've continued the trend year after year. They're the champions of that. They did absolutely nothing after there were rumblings about a potential Zach LaVine trade to the Knicks, which did not happen. Bulls sit on their hands again. They want to be mediocre for forever, and I hate them.
Yep.
Well put.
Dude, so as Joe Cali puts it out that there's a conversation between the Knicks and the Bulls this afternoon for Zach LaVine. And I'm like, okay, cool. So Derrick Rose is coming back to Chicago. That was like my first thought before any other players, any other draft picks. I was like, it was inevitable, right? Like, this is just bound to happen. He's going to end his career Bull, like whatever. If he doesn't end his career playing for the Bulls, he will sign the one-day contract thing.
Yeah.
Like that's going to happen. Right. So I'm like, all right, whatever, that's going to happen. All right, so I wonder what's going on. So it's like an hour later, the conversation's like, well, the framework is LaVine and Goran Dragic for Quentin Grimes, Derrick Rose, 3 first-round picks, and Obi Toppin. And I'm like, why haven't the Bulls said yes to this yet? Like, what are they doing? Like, why isn't this done? And of course,
did the Knicks not say yes, or was it the Bulls who didn't say yes?
I don't know. Nothing was confirmed who stopped the conversation.
Okay.
But I think that would have been a great trade for both teams.
Oh yeah, that's fine. They get there's
27 points per game score, total garden guy.
Well, and not only that, like Zach LaVine is the epitome of a Knicks guy, a guy who's probably,
I agree with that.
He's probably like a season or two removed from his best season, and they get him. He's gonna put up points. He's not gonna do much else. Tibbs is gonna run his knees into the ground, and that'll be the end of it. And then eventually LaVine throws Tibbs under the bus. Tibbs gets fired.
It's a cycle.
LaVine ends up finishing his career in Orlando. I mean, that's what would happen. So,
I completely forgot that'd be a Tibbs LaVine reunion. I forgot about that completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 1 year they were in, that trade was supposed to happen the year before the Butler trade. So
the exact trade.
Yeah. Literally like pick
just no marketing. Oh, that pick too?
Not that pick particularly, but the year's pick that was Chris Dunn. which
Yeah.
Chris Dunn ended up being on the Bulls anyway in that trade. So
Yeah,
bring that
that's
guy's
that's
name
a
up.
hard to think about. Chris Dunn. Ugh.
yeah, a lot of pain there. Let's talk about the Suns real quick because obviously they are the biggest conversation. So I just first want to say for Suns fans out there, I can't imagine the emotions that you guys went through with the night before you guys get Kevin Durant. There's discussions that Isaiah Thomas is going to be your general manager. So kudos on dealing with that.
That was just some trolling information. That's all that was. That wasn't real.
So Phoenix adds KD, TJ Ward, and Darius Baisley. They move on from Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, Darius Sarge, and 4 first-round picks to get Kevin Durant. That's that's pretty cool. I like it. So the obvious thing here is Chris Paul has his best basketball situation of his life. He gets to take the ball down the court. He has DeAndre Ayton for pick and rolls. He has Kevin Durant to do Kevin Durant things, and Devin Booker to stash in the corner and be right now probably the best shooting guard in the league. You add TJ Warren, who's obviously been in Phoenix, so he knows about the program, he knows about the brand, and has played really well since he came back from injury. Darius Baisley is fine. I don't really know what he'll be. I obviously root for him as a Cincinnati guy. But
that's not a bad long-term, just little potential stash. Because,
right.
He's got potential still. He was a project coming out of, well, not college, coming out of training with New Balance.
Right. Yeah. But the haul they gave up, man, Jay Crowder's whatever, because he was like, I'm not going to play until you trade me anyway. And then, giving up Mikal was kind of shocking. Cam Johnson, who I really like. We'll break down the Nets roster a little later. And then obviously the 4 first-round picks. It feels like Brooklyn did the opposite of the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade here. Instead of giving up 10 years worth of draft picks, they brought in 10 years worth of draft picks. So I'm not a Kevin Durant guy. I've been pretty open about that on the show now for years. But as a basketball fan, I love how this looks on paper.
Yeah, 100%. I am right there with you, Tim. Always been a LeBron guy, so not really the biggest Kevin Durant fan. But purely basketball, I mean, the dude's one of the 2-3 best players on the planet. He's one of the 10 to 15 greatest players of all time. And he's not a ball-dominant player, so just the idea of those pin down screens where you could have Booker or Durant coming off a pin down for a 15-footer, and you got Chris Paul diming him up, that's just scary to think about. It really is. Those are the 2 best mid-range shooters in the league outside of DeRozan on the same team.
I was about to say there,
and Chris Paul
mouth.
maybe 3.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul maybe 3 out besides DeRozan. I gotta say DeRozan, but outside DeRozan.
I like the low key getting TJ Warren here too.
Me too.
I do too.
I like that. I mean, it's not gonna replace Mikal Bridges, who I love. He's great, and good luck to him. But Kevin Durant on this team, you're getting a guy who, he's averaging 29 points a game right now. He's in full form again, and it's interesting. Is he the first star player ever to want to be traded to the Phoenix Suns?
Did Barkley want to be traded there, or was he just traded there?
I think he was just traded there. I don't think there was nobody really there. I mean, Kevin Johnson was there. Dan Marley was there. Sabalos, maybe he was there at that time. So, I mean, that was it, man. There wasn't a whole lot of other dudes, but going out there, they're going to have so many offensive weapons on this team. It is completely clear that their new owner is in a win now mode, and that is what you want, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan. However, the problem is Chris Paul is cursed and they're not going to win. So you guys know him, right? You guys know him, right?
Well, did you see that? I guess the deal that was going to get done today was they were talking to Atlanta about John Collins, and that was
that was done. That was
the paperwork.
Done.
They were basically just about to turn the paperwork in. That I guess the rumor is the new owner went to James Jones, was like, "All right, dude, what's it going to take for us to get Kevin Durant?"
Yeah.
So that's pretty dope. That's a fan base you want to be. That's someone you want to be a fan for, right? It's a team that does that. Monty Williams is obviously so well respected. I love this. I think they're my pick to win the West. At the moment. Let's see how this plays out before the end of the regular season. Let's see when Durant gets back. Let's see if Chris Paul and Devin Booker are on the court. And let's see if DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams start to get along again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Ayton is happy to be there at all this year. He has been sleepwalking through the season, and other teams know it, and they've been taking advantage of him all year. I'm not super confident in him, and if they don't win the title this year, I fully expect him to be on the block.
The cool thing of this is if they don't win this year, which obviously they want to win this year, Booker and Durant you have for 2 more seasons after this. So
yeah.
Your window is very open.
Huge.
I thought Durant had 3 left. Does he?
He might have
2?
He might have 3. I don't know. I was on 2K all day, like waiting for Sean to put the trades in, and I would put them in my franchise. By the way, did you know you can't edit contracts anymore in franchise? That's stupid. Because
why not?
Now when Russell Westbrook gets bought out by Utah, I'm not gonna be able to sign him on anybody because he's gonna be a free agent with like a $40 million contract. So
yeah, like how big is his market? I wonder.
Westbrook's?
Yeah,
it's the Bulls or the Clippers, basically, is what the reports are.
Yeah, I mean,
and I hate that.
The Heat too. Weren't the Heat involved?
Yeah, the Heat. Yeah, the Heat.
Yeah.
I hope he joins of those teams. I'd want him to join the Heat.
Me too.
I feel like he might actually kind of fit in that team weirdly.
He is kind of like
because him and Jimmy.
Guy.
He's kind of like a Jimmy Butler guy too. I feel like Jimmy Butler would like playing with him because he's gonna give his all. Shoulder. He's gonna give his all every night and play as hard as he can. I mean, he always does.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I want him to do well though, for sure.
I do too. I just thought that. And I guess we can just go ahead to that real quick. So, the Lakers also very, very, very active.
Had to be.
Yeah. And I honestly, I know we're going to get into a long discussion about it, but I love it. So you bring in D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba, and Davon Reed. You give up Russell Westbrook, Thomas Bryant, Pat Bev, thank God, Damian Jones, and Juan Toscano Anderson. This doesn't even mention you only had to give up 1 draft pick in the Westbrook trade.
1.
And you get 3 second-rounders from Denver for Thomas Bryant. So you kind of build your draft capital up a little more. This one's interesting because I think, what was it, Sean, like 3 weeks ago, I was on a show and I said, I don't think you can win with D'Angelo Russell. And then he kind of goes into a perfect situation where he just compliments the 2 big guys on the team and can stretch the floor for them. So
I don't know, man. I for some reason, there's something about him that he's one of those on-off players to me it'll be interesting to see how he fits in here. I think he will fit in with this team, but I'm not 100% sure he's going to fit in. But also, this is the best swing that the Lakers could have taken.
Oh yeah.
He's a proven player. We're years removed from his best season when he was in Brooklyn, but he's back in LA. I'm sure he wants to be there. This is going to be he's still young as shit. Yeah. Getting Malik Beasley, I think was great.
Awesome.
I really that's great. Getting Jared Vanderbilt, I really like him. He's a fun piece. And then also getting rid of Thomas Bryant and then somehow getting Mo Bamba. Yeah. And Mo Bamba is one of those classic players who's I think everybody who loves basketball was just kind of praying he'd be in a different situation finally. Mm-hmm. And he's in a different situation. He's definitely going to get some burn. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I think it'll be very interesting. I don't think they're a Western Conference Finals team. I don't know. It just kind of depends on what they have. Now, we see them going up against the Warriors, and they're, right now kind of hurting, obviously, with all their guys out and everything. But if they're healthy, I think they could give the Warriors a good run for their money at this point. And that was the team I wouldn't want to run into in the playoffs. But now you got Dallas. You'll obviously have the Nuggets. But then again, I could see the Lakers going over the Nuggets somehow. It could happen.
I do too.
Same.
It could happen. they're a regular season team. So
I agree with
they have not proven us any differently yet until they actually make it to the NBA Finals. I don't know anything about them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think honestly they can make the Western Conference Finals. Everything has to go right, but
it's a lot.
It is a lot. It is, but the Western Conference, like we've talked about this for weeks now, is separated by 13 and 4, separated by 4 losses.
Yeah, it is. It is. The one thing that I will say that, and the thing that this completely depends on is Anthony Davis's health. He has to stay healthy for them,
or if he wants to play.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about last night. That was weird because he's not normally like that for LeBron things. You know what I mean? Like usually they're like this, like usually. So it's like it was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things we might be looking back at a couple years down the line if something bad goes, ends up happening. So,
I texted Tim this earlier, and the reason I love the D'Angelo Russell move is because he is very just hit or miss sometimes. But he's a big shot taker and he's a big shot maker. Like the dude is clutch. He is not afraid of the moment at all.
No.
And we all like
I'll agree with
LeBron is a willing passer in those late game scenarios. So like if he gets doubled and stuff, he's gonna kick it to D'Angelo Russell. And if you watch Lakers games a lot, I don't know how many times last year in a late game situation LeBron kicked to Carmelo Anthony and Carmelo Anthony bricked a 3. It happened so many times. And now he's got a guy that I think can hit those shots.
That's also real, to piggyback off what Parker's saying. He's having his best shooting year of his career this year.
He's been really efficient, yeah.
Yeah, he's like near 40% from 3. He's about 86% from the line. He's putting about nearly 20 points a game. He's been really, really good offensively. And I think now you get him in this situation, like you said, Parker. What better situation for him has he ever had than this, as far as like a guy to get him open shots. You look at his first run in LA, that was not the Kobe Bryant that we all grew up and loved that could scare a defense. It was just broken down the end of his career. You look at Brooklyn, he was the guy. Him and Karis LeVert, it was up to them to kind of win games for them all the time. Jared Allen obviously played a big part in that as well. And then Minnesota, obviously Cat. And it was, is one of the best shooting bigs of all time, but he wasn't scaring anybody as far as like doubling and getting guys open. Anthony Edwards wasn't really the guy to kind of compliment him with the ball. So
well,
I dig this.
I will say this. I feel like, D'Angelo Russell this year, like we said, the last couple of weeks I feel like the last couple of weeks he's somehow been able to coexist with Anthony Edwards, and he's learned to, I feel like just over the last month and a half, he's kind of changed his game a little bit and he's been a little bit more efficient. So hopefully that kind of prepared him for what he's going into now, because like you said, Parker, he could be that guy that's, getting these last second shots, from LeBron, and he's considerably better than a washed Carmelo Anthony this year. So
yeah, exactly. And like we talked about, Beasley, Vanderbilt, and D'Angelo Russell are all 26 or younger. I think Vanderbilt's only like 23. Like these are all young. Yeah, and Bamba's like 24. These are all really young pickups, which is nice too. This is not the retirement home squad anymore. And the one thing about the Lakers now, they're not the most star power. They're deep. Like, they're really deep now. Seriously. They have a lot of, like, solid role players now. I mean, you upgrade Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, Pat Bev, and Thomas Bryant for D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Obama. That's, like, a way better, like, core of role players
to go with LeBron, AD, Schroeder.
Yeah.
Who Schroeder's are
Lonnie Walker having the best year of his career.
Austin Reeves.
Before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Before Lonnie Walker got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Austin Reeves has been good. Obviously. My dog.
Pat Bev's been horrible. Pat Bev's been horrible this year.
His all-time Laker highlight will forever be taking a camera from the sidelines and bringing it to an official.
Yeah. I think Pat Bev, I don't know. He might be like damn near done soon because he looked horrible this year. I don't know what happened. He fell off a cliff. I mean, he's gotten older.
So here's the other thing too about this: if they can take this shot, and if it doesn't work out, Beasley and D'Angelo Russell are free agents at the end of the year. So what if Kyrie does decide like, yeah, this Dallas thing was cool, but I want to go to the Lakers? You know, they're fine.
Yeah.
Or D'Angelo Russell ends up great there. They win a couple playoff series, and it's like, dude, let's run this back. You have that situation too. And probably of the three for what they want to do, Jared Vanderbilt, having him for 2 more seasons and having his bird rights now is pretty great, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy who's fit in everywhere he's played. And he's been a guy who's had to guard LeBron in the past. He's been a guy who's had to guard Durant, guard Giannis. So now you can bring him in there as your bench big to spot them some minutes. I like it. My biggest question, though, before we move on is, now that Malik Beasley is on the team, is Scottie Pippen Jr. going to ask for his release?
I don't know.
Scottie Pippen Jr. is a footnote on this team.
Is he going to walk in there and be like, and Malik goes like, "Hey, Scottie, how's your mom?" And then he's going to like go crazy and attack him?
I feel bad for Scottie Pippen Jr.
Dude, I saw him play in college like 2 or 3 times, and he was like awesome.
Oh,
So,
yeah. He was a hell of a college player.
I think he's good enough to get some clock. I understand he's on a 2-way, but he's, I don't know if he's going to help a playoff team, but
maybe later on he'll be able to be good enough to play and stuff. I don't know.
Let's go ahead, Parker. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I just think it's overall upgrade. Like, if you look player by player, like Juan Toscano Anderson to Jared Vanderbilt, like Juan Toscano Anderson has been horrible. Like, he is bad. Like, I'm not even trying to like sugarcoat it. When I watch him, I'm like, what does he do?
Let's also mention, on top of all this, they still got Rui Hachimura a couple weeks ago for a Kendrick Nunn that didn't have in the rotation.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We're even talking about that.
Yeah, so this is great. This reminds me of when like the 2018 Cavs, when they just completely changed their roster at the deadline, because they had like Wade and Rose and Isaiah Thomas, and they're like, no, this sucks.
But they just got Clarkson and Larry Nance,
George Hill.
Do you guys think, I mean, and this is a serious question, do you think that if LeBron James had an actual say, would he rather have Kyrie Irving or what Rob Pelinka was able to do this week?
Probably Kyrie.
You think he'd still want to go? Do you think that LeBron is kind of like Michael Jordan, where like his like the business side is just not there?
Maybe, but obviously the thought he has in his head is like, bro, we want a title. And
yeah.
Kyrie obviously wanted to be there. It wasn't
and LeBron
like
can tame him. That's like the one person it seems like could tame him somewhat. Like compared to everywhere else, it's a fire show immediately.
Very similar to the whole Rodman being on the Bulls thing back in the 90s when he came over there. They were like these guys, this group can keep him in hand and give him a little bit of rope, and it's fine, and we'll be able to win regardless of any kind of antics. But all right, well, you know what? I'm hoping this all works out for him. They did a hell of a job revamping the entire roster over the last week. It's been incredible.
If I had known like how, like, I knew Russell Westbrook was holding them back, I didn't realize it was this much. So yeah, I like this. Let's go to the other side of LA, down the hall from the Lakers at the Crypto Arena, the Clippers. And this is another team. I love what they did. Before we get into the additions and subtractions and the moves they're able to make, how freaking hilarious is this that John Wall is going back to the Rockets after doing that podcast?
After the podcast. He's going to
get bought out.
Something. Yeah, he's going to get bought out.
But it's just so funny. So they bring in Eric Gordon. They bring in Mason Plumlee for Reggie Jackson, who's also getting bought out from Charlotte. And they bring in Bones Highland, who people seem to think is the next freaking D'Angelo Russell, apparently, by how much people love him. I'm like, he can't beat Sean and Parker. But he can score very well. So they move on from John Wall. They move on from Luke Kennard, who went to Memphis. That's an awesome fit.
Huge fit with them.
And Reggie Jackson. So the Clippers plus 1,200 to win the title. I really think they did a great job. I don't like the Clippers, as we know. I actually hate them. Legitimately do not like them. Do not root for their success whatsoever. But I really like these moves. I think the fact that they built their team up, obviously with Kawhi and PG, We know what they can do. Still having Norman Powell, who they didn't have to get rid of. I know they were big on the market for OG Anunoby. That obviously did not work out. But building your bench with these guys, you still have Zubac, who's been really good for them. This is a great situation at all. But obviously with the Clippers, it comes down to, can any of these dudes stay on the court?
And there's nothing to say they can, really.
No, there's not. I really do like, Mason Plumlee going here. I think is kind of low key awesome. He's a walking double. I guess he ends up backing up Zubac. How's that gonna work? They kind of provide the same services. Okay,
they're basically the same player. He's just an older version of Zubac. Yeah.
I think Plumlee's a little better though, honestly.
I do too. The last 10 games that Mason Plumlee has played, and granted he's been playing for the bum Charlotte Hornets for a while, but he's averaged 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists over the last 10 games. And he's been shooting 73%. So he's coming off a pretty good last month. I think this is a good fit for him, but I don't trust the health of Paul George. I don't trust the health of Kawhi Leonard. This team, unless they prove me differently, they're just a disappearing act at this point to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks because I love Ty Lue. I think Ty Lue is a great coach. I think he's the best in-game adjustment coach in the NBA. But yeah, this is a lot to ask. I mean, Eric Gordon isn't exactly a walking health bill either. Like, he's injured quite a bit as well, so...
Yeah. I just remember when he initially was traded from LA, the look that he had on his face when him and who was the big guy who got traded from the Clippers back then? Chris
Kaman.
Chris Kaman. Yeah, he was like on the Bulls wish list forever. He was going to be our Lord
savior.
And Savior. Yeah, he was going to be our Lord and Savior because he was a post player who could actually rebound. Like for years, like Bulls fans like salivated over him. But anyways, they both got traded to Charlotte in that CP3 trade, and I just remember the look on their faces when they arrived, in Charlotte. It was just sadness. Sadness.
It's definitely up there with. Do you remember when the Sixers drafted Jahlil Okafor, and he's like holding his jersey at the press conference, and when they it's him and a couple other guys, and he just throws the jersey down.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who wanted to go play for them?
Yeah. So on paper, this kind of goes back to our Phoenix conversation at a lower degree, obviously, because Phoenix has 2 of the 4 best offensive players in the league probably right now. That's probably an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. So here, I guess Bones Highland's going to be their starting point guard now, which is pretty cool.
Go Bones.
Yeah.
Go Bones.
Love it.
I think it's great for him.
They need more scoring. They have enough defense. They can hide him because they have enough defense. They need some
That's
scoring.
A great point.
Yeah.
If you look, they're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, one of the worst offensive teams for teams to actually have a winning record. Not a very good offensive team, so they need help.
Oh, dude, I rewatched the Mavs Clippers game from last night today because I wanted to see how Kyrie looked in his debut. By the way, looked unbelievable. I was shocked how good he looked. Just like as far as camaraderie with the team and stuff like that, I was very impressed. But dude, they looked brutal at stretches offensively and even defensively at times. Like Paul George tried to stay in front of Kyrie in like an ISO. There was no help. And I know Paul George is known as an all NBA defensive player. Had no chance.
Yeah. They were getting up in Kyrie way too high up. I don't know why. He was blowing by him.
Yeah, you know what
Theo
he's going to
Pinson in the fourth quarter.
Oh my God, he went crazy.
Yeah, and Reggie Bullock in the first quarter had 15 on 5 threes in the first quarter.
I text Sean earlier, rewatching the game, and I was like, Josh Green was basically just running fast break the whole game. He looked like a wide receiver just running go routes is what he looked like. Because every time that they had a loose ball, the Clippers were not getting back. So
Dallas are going to be good. The West is going to be just a meat grinder in the playoffs this year.
I don't love Dallas's roster. I don't really have a hard time with it. Because after Luka and Kyrie, what do you depend on?
Well, we'll see. Let's see what happens. You never know. I mean,
True.
Luka's a Superman. You know what he did last year in the playoffs. he's an animal, man. So, let's see I'm not going to judge them just yet. I agree with you, Tim. They don't have any depth. They don't, especially with the guys that went out and everything. And I think they should have tried to move Christian Wood for something else, another piece, just to kind of get one other primary, scorer, but we'll see. I don't know.
I can't believe the Bulls right now are losing to the makeshift Brooklyn Nets, who
who cares? Who cares? That's what losers do. They lose.
Ben Simmons is coming off the bench. Spencer Dinwiddie started tonight. Cam Thomas is only 2 of 9.
Ooh, bad night for Cam.
Yeah, that's the future of the franchise.
Yeah. But Zach LaVine, 29 points, saying like maybe you should have traded my ass.
Oh, they're tied now, 77-77.
They could have traded 3 former All-Stars this week and had just a shit ton of draft picks and just went all in, kept,
because so they can get Russell West, so they can get Westbrook at the buyout. And
just let it fade at the end.
All in with Westbrook.
You could have had some draft picks this year. You wouldn't have known where you were going to fall. And, you might actually have been able to, been in a prize for the upcoming Lord and Savior for the NBA next year. And now you're not, and you're going to be bums. So
yeah, even if they could get like Amen Thompson, that would have just been awesome. But
that's cool. Any fresh start would have been great.
Yeah. Josh should be joining us here in a minute before we get into a few other things, but, let's talk about Brooklyn, because this is like obviously the team of, we're talking about all these teams that made moves. So this is what all they brought in: Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. They brought back Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith. They get 5 first-round picks total and 6 second-rounders. They move on obviously from Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Marquise Morris, TJ Warren, and they flipped Jay Crowder to Milwaukee after the Phoenix trade. So this reminds me of that fun, like annoying, pesky Nets team, the D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert one. It's like super fun. The roster's like really a bunch of cool dudes. Like they're a blast. They're obviously not as good as they were, but I think that they're going to be they're probably a league pass team. You get a chance to see Mikal Bridges be the best player on a team, even if it is just for a little bit before they make a move in the offseason. So I'm really curious to see how he adapts to that. But I like all these dudes. I'm curious to see how it works out. Yeah. Because, if Ben Simmons knew how to play a lick of basketball again, him and Mikal Bridges would be incredible together defensively. But I think Jacque Vaughn's going to have a lot of fun figuring this out. And also he probably is just came into work today, breathed, took a sip of his coffee, took a deep breath, and was like, life is good. Life is good.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think of the amount of stress that man was probably under. He doesn't have to he can coast the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He can just coast the rest of the year. They can evaluate I imagine they'll probably bring him back. He's going to be their coach, and he'll get to develop some other players and just kind of coast into the end of the season. And, coming off a year where Steve Nash gets fired, Kyrie Irving went through a bunch of different news cycles, and then Kevin Durant getting traded. I mean, I would be absolutely relieved if I was him. I think this is a great time. Just starting this. This is what I wanted Chicago to do.
I know.
This is exactly what I wanted. Look at the plethora of additions we have here. 5 first-round picks, 6 second-round picks. You can trade those. You can actually draft people. You have Mikal Bridges, who's a really good player. You know?
Could you imagine if we woke up and it was the Chicago Bulls have made a deal with the Phoenix Suns for Zach LaVine and in return get Mikal Bridges? I'd be like, great, awesome, sign me up.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
This is going to be kind of. I was listening to Simmons and Russillo talking about this today, and one of the things they said that just made me laugh so hard was how Durant and Kyrie were all about going to Brooklyn for the culture.
Yeah,
and they destroyed the culture in 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so like now it's like, all right, they can kind of build a little bit of a culture here maybe, and they can get some guys in. I mean, I am 1,000% moving on from Ben Simmons this offseason if I'm them. I don't care what it takes because he is just not good at basketball anymore.
He's averaging like 7, 6, and 6. He is the most expensive
Dude.
bench player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
I'd buy him out. I just don't want him on my roster.
You buy out Ben Simmons, and I guess that's the end of his career because no one is going to sign him. No,
dude, he'll be incredible in the Australian League.
The NBL. He doesn't play basketball after that contract's over with.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he plays basketball because somebody signs him for cheap.
I don't know, man.
The vet minimum, 4.4 mil. Yeah.
I will say this team just now, like their roster, reminds me of just a better version of what the Jazz pretty much are before they made trades. Like just a bunch of like really good players, but no like star power. But like a bunch of Bridges can be that Markkanen where he becomes a star, in my opinion.
I love that actually.
He's I would say, was he all NBA defense last year?
Yeah.
He was up for defense player of the year last year.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say he's already got some cred there. So
he by the way, Josh is here. What up, buddy? How are you?
What up?
So I'm trying to see right now. So they'll have right now they have 2 first rounders in this draft. And they're slated at picks 21 and 24 because they have Phoenix's pick for this year, obviously. So I'm just kind of, throwing shit out there at the moment, obviously, because so many things have to happen before then. But if they have this group that they just got in these trades today, and they go get Maxwell Lewis from Pepperdine, who is just a 3-point shooting machine, they're a league pass team next year. And with that other pick, if they get Colby Jones from Xavier, who's like a Swiss Army knife, do-it-all ball handler. Like, I'm watching this team probably nightly because they're going to be that much fun. If Cam Johnson comes back healthy, they obviously have Nicholas Claxton, who Josh is really high on. And
Johnson's back, I believe.
I think he was pretty close last I remember. So is he going to be able to play as soon as when he reports?
I believe he's been playing the last
cool.
Couple nights. Let me look that up.
Cam Johnson's he's came back and played a couple games already.
Yeah,
okay,
cool. He's come back, played like 5 games.
Nice. So yeah, I love everything the Nets did here to move on from just like that black cloud of what like everything that could have been. But I do want to give shout out to Robin Lopez for the greatest tweet of all time in basketball history.
Oh my god.
When he said, this is just like Muppets Take Manhattan, where when things got hard, all the Muppets left Manhattan. So love it.
Yep.
So Josh, what are your thoughts? Because I know you're a big Durant guy, obviously. You've been a fan of his throughout his career. So what are your thoughts on what the Nets have done moving on from Kevin Durant?
When they were tweeting about all these trades going, and they were like, hey, we're behind the scenes talking to KD about how we're going to piece this together and make it worth him staying. The moment those messages started coming out, I was like, he's gone. I was like, I don't know where he's going. I was like, but he's gone. There were a lot of people who thought Phoenix. I mean, there was some rumbling like early on in the season that was like, hey, KD's going to go to Phoenix. God forbid, I don't know how it would have worked out, but there was that slim chance that somehow maybe Golden State would have got him back. But I mean, if you were thinking about a situation that you were going to put him in at this part of his career, where he's probably going to start being on the decline at some point, putting him on a team where he doesn't have to do much, but he can still be the same guy that puts up his stats. I mean, where's a better fit than Phoenix?
Agreed. You got light in that room, buddy?
Yeah, light it up.
He's living in the darkness, man.
Yeah, he's like Batman. Like
he's like Bane. Batman. He was Bane. He was born in the darkness, molded by it.
But yeah, I totally agree. I I'm curious to see how this goes from here for them. Because Mikal, obviously, they have on a long-term deal. Cam Johnson, they still have he's a restricted free agent, I believe, this season. Dinwiddie coming back was pretty cool, especially because he was like, "Oh, I found out the way you guys did." So
I think I'm a little higher on Dinwiddie than everybody else is. I got to watch him play live, where he was the guy on the floor when Luka was hurt, and I watched him put up 36, and it was a pretty easy 36. And I was like, man, this guy can get to spots and hit some shots when he wants to. I'm not saying he's going to be the guy there because clearly Cam Thomas is already the guy in Brooklyn. But again, I mean, if you take that roster and you look at it, and you got your second round picks drawn out until the year 2050 where they get six second round picks. I mean, I don't know what was going on with the draft trades today with all the second round picks. Like that was like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I asked my buddy who's a scout, and I was like, are you guys just creating second round picks right now? Like, are you guys just making these up? He did not respond to me.
I feel like they were, honestly.
Yeah. We'll trade you our 2047 second round pick this year for this piece of gum and
a copy machine.
Yeah. Maybe a DVD.
And Russell Westbrook.
I still think Brooklyn's a playoff team.
I think that they are a play-in team. I just have a hard time with, the teams that are above them. But then again, to be fair,
they're sitting at what, the 4 seed? 5
right
seed?
now they're sitting the 4 seed.
Yeah.
So
how far ahead are they of the play?
Oh no, they're the 5 seed. You're right. You're right, Parker, because they're a game and a half behind Cleveland. So
how far ahead are they of the play-in?
3 games above the Knicks.
I mean, I could see them not dropping.
Let me try something real quick.
3 games overall. Like, I think they're gonna win more games than they lose. I really do.
I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, it all depends on I got to look at their whole schedule. But so right now, if you look at the East, obviously you don't take them over Boston, Milwaukee, or Philly. I think Cleveland's better than them right now.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they're better than the Knicks right now, but I'm saying, are they 3 games worse or 3.5 games worse? Is my question.
That's true because they're 10 games over 500 right now. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They have a good record right now. That's why I'm saying that.
Their schedule coming up in the month is very, very fun. So they're playing Chicago tonight. Obviously, they'll probably win that game. Saturday they play Philly at home. Monday they're at the Garden playing the Knicks. Wednesday they're at home for Miami, who's right underneath them at the 6th spot. Then, you've got the All-Star break. So they come out of the All-Star break with Chicago, at Atlanta, home for Milwaukee, at the Knicks, at the Celtics. That's their next 10 games.
Wow,
that
is fun.
That's gonna be a blast. I like it. All right. I think we talked enough about the Nets now. Let's kind of get into a couple individual trades. Kind of talk about some of these.
This one's kind of funny.
Yeah. How about this? Tibbs was like, man, I just love that Villanova team that won a national championship, so I had to get the best players on it and trade one of the guys.
He didn't get Bridges.
I know. And trade one of the guys. Arcidiacono was the point guard of that team, and he got rid of him.
Who was the guy who hit the winning shot? Chris Jenkins. He's gonna go sign him wherever he's playing overseas.
Yeah.
Tibbs is gonna go get him.
So the Knicks bring in Josh Hart. They move on from Cam Reddish, which we also kind of saw happening for a long time. They move on from Ryan Arcidiacono and Z Mikhailuk to make the money work, who was later flipped to the Hornets. And they get a 2023 first-round pick. Also, with important to note that Portland and Chicago are also in the process of a draft pick, potentially going one hand or the other. I really like this move for the Knicks. You talk about how well Julius Randle's played this year. Jalen Brunson has been a great fit for them. Another bucket getter, a guy who plays defense. That's a lot. That's like a perfect Tibbs guy that he's going to injure playing 42 minutes in a playoff game. But I think this is a good fit for the Knicks. For guys who they couldn't play, you get a guy you can not only play in your rotation, but probably play 35 minutes a night. I like it. I think it's a good fit for them.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Not
fine.
great.
It's meh.
Yeah,
I like
Josh-
Cam Reddish for the Trailblazers.
Josh, you're muted, so
I'm laughing because Sean's like, it's fine.
it is fine.
Yeah, it's just like the Trailblazers get another guy who can't guard but can score.
Mhm.
And then the Knicks get another guy who can't score but can guard. It's like, all right. That's
Dude,
Tim's type of player. He
that's-
wants to win
that's all he
90
wants.
to 87.
Every Portland game is going to be like 141 to 137 and 2
Yeah.
overtimes. Like,
Yeah, Dame drops 48. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Dame. The dude's been dropping 40 plus. Like,
Yeah.
his like sportsbook lines recently have been like 35 and a half because he's been dropping so many points recently. Every
Oof.
night.
Classic Dame.
classic Dame, who like, once again, Portland let everyone know that they are not trading. I think at this point, it's the opposite of John Collins, right? We're like, yes, we know Atlanta, you're shopping John Collins. We hear it every year.
He's been shopped since he got drafted. They were trying to shop him on
Literally.
draft night.
literally. Yeah, it's like, do you think like he has like a duffel bag that he like slowly starts to zip every like trade
Yeah.
deadline, and then he gets to it, then he just unzips it back and goes, whatever.
There's a few constants in the
Fine, I'll
NBA.
stay.
LeBron's gonna be good, and John Collins is gonna be rumored in trades. Those are two constants in the NBA.
John Collins is like a winner loser in all of this. Like,
Yeah.
who's going to trade for John Collins? John Collins doesn't get traded.
John Collins is still yet to unpack his boxes in his apartment in Atlanta just because he just doesn't know. He's like, man, I've been living out of boxes. They're like, oh, yeah, how long? 6 years.
Just been waiting.
Yeah, any day now. Speaking of the Hawks, so this deal happened, and Parker was pretty open, obviously, that he's not a fan of it. So I'll definitely get his thoughts on that. So Warriors, Pistons, Hawks, 3-team deal. The center of this is obviously James Wiseman going to the Pistons, with Golden State moving on from him. And the Pistons flat out coming out and been like, he's going to start. Saddiq Bey going from Detroit to Atlanta, another Villanova guy, Tibbs, if you're watching. Saddiq Bey won a title at Villanova, so you might want to add him to your team. And then Golden State getting Kevin Knox in this trade obviously flipped them for the Gary Payton the second deal, but also gained 5 of those fake second rounders.
These have to be fake. These are for like
hypothetical draft
preschoolers right
picks.
now.
Draft picks.
For a class of 2038 second rounder.
Yeah. So look, I think I might be the last person to have stock in James Wiseman Island. I think
I'm on the island with you. I have stock.
I think I still have a couple duplexes hanging out there, and I got a PO box there as well. So this is make or break now, right? This is kind of like Detroit's bringing you in. They know that they're not going anywhere. You got to figure this out now to see what you can be, especially considering Jalen Duren has been really good for about a month now for them. So I thought that was a really dynamic thing. Saddiq Bey going to Atlanta, just another shooter for them that probably will not fit in because even though on paper it makes sense, it won't work. And then Golden State just adding to their draft capital, which we'll get into, I think, additional draft capital in a second.
Can people, I was just going to say, can people just try to understand real quick? Like, I'm even shocked that Golden State gave up on him so fast.
Me too.
This kid's 21. All right. He didn't play for almost a year and a half,
right?
Due to a knee injury. So his rookie season, I want to say he maybe got 40 games in, not even a half a season. He didn't play in college because he hurt his back, and there was some.
He got suspended.
There was some. I was going to say. And there were some suspension things that went in there. So, like, when you don't have, multiple years of playing at a high level, when you were considered the best player in high school, the best player, in college, and probably the best player that was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, like, you got to be able to give that guy some run to get him back to where he was. And for me, I said this has always been a point where he just doesn't have the confidence in himself at this point. If this guy ever gets to the point where he's the old James Wiseman and we see like the spurt of what he used to be able to give, and all of a sudden this guy's a 20 plus 10 rebounds with a couple blocks a game and hits an all-star, like it's going to be scary for the team that gets that out of him. It really is.
No, I agree with you 100%. And my thing, why I was like high on this trade for the Pistons, the only thing I'll say with the Pistons is it's a weird fit because they have Marvin Bagley, still trying to develop him a little bit. Isaiah Stewart, still trying to develop him. Jalen Duren, still trying to develop him. So you have four former top 5 recruits out of high school centers. 4 of them.
Yeah.
Jalen Duren was the number 1 player. Isaiah Stewart was number 3, I want to say, in his high school class. And Marvin Bagley was number 1. And then James Wiseman was number 1. And you have all 4 of those guys in the front court who all play center. They're really not power forwards. Maybe Bagley's a power forward kind of, but they're really centers. It's a weird fit, but I like it for Wiseman because I think he's going to get the run. And I don't like this trade at all for the Warriors because I think this value, you sold Wiseman at the lowest possible his value will ever be, in my opinion. I feel like this is the lowest point it's going to be. I feel like he can only go up from here. I feel like he still has a lot of potential, and I'm still pretty high on him. And, like, the fact that you did this for Gary Payton I'm sorry, I don't think Gary Payton moves the needle. I know they won the title last year with him. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think you could have gotten him back or gotten Caruso with something other than Wiseman, in my opinion. I don't think it had to be Wiseman. I would have rather gotten rid of Moody if I had to pick one.
Sean and I wanted the Caruso for Wiseman deal. We really wanted that.
Yeah, we would have went for it. It's like you don't want to give up Caruso for nothing, but you also like the fact that they were like holding him hostage for like they're like, oh god, someone's gotta like blow us away for a Caruso deal. Freaking really? Really? Get some draft picks and get a player you can develop. I don't like James Wiseman in Detroit. Like you said, Parker, this is the same thing I was going to say before you said it. They've got too many developmental centers right now. Unless he can come out immediately and prove something, if they need to throw him out on the floor immediately. He needs to get some run. He's not hurt right now, correct? Is he?
Right, he's fine.
They've already said that he's going to start. So
okay, so he's starting. Okay, cool. You throw him out there, that's fine, but you got to do that. I just
what are they going to do with the rest of them? That's what I'm confused about.
You can't not play Jalen Duren. Like, he has been really good.
No, you can't not play Isaiah Stewart really either.
What is it that you've seen in the trade where you're already like, hey, we're going to start James Wiseman, that the Golden State Warriors wouldn't even put him on the floor?
Yeah, because Mark Spears was the one that was like, oh, they traded for him to start. And okay.
Isaiah Stewart he's averaging 11 points a game, 8 rebounds, an assist, and 1 block. I mean, he's playing well.
And how old is Isaiah Stewart? Like 22?
Yeah. So they actually said they were going to come out and start him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bagley averages 11 and 6, but Bagley's out for 2 months, so that helps just for the minutes thing. That helps. But
do you think this will be
one of them's coming off the bench? You can't start 3 of them.
Do you think this will be the Memphis Tiger fans' favorite basketball NBA team?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway's watching every one of these games.
Yeah. I think Duren's gonna end up being awesome.
They're gonna draft Bates in the draft.
Yeah. But I think Duren's gonna end up being awesome. I just what you see from him now as a kid who just turned 19 and is playing in the NBA is pretty impressive. So
yeah, he's legitimately like a whole year younger than me, and not many people are younger than me. So
right.
I'm surprised Detroit didn't move Bogdanovich. Like, he's the one on the roster that doesn't fit with everybody else. Like, he's 33, maybe 34 at this point. Everybody else is in like their young 20s. Like, I don't even think they have Nerlens Noel is 28, and they got some guys down there. Some vets like Corey Joseph and some guys like that.
Yeah, you got to have a couple.
I forgot Nerlens Noel too. That's another freaking center.
Yeah, but I'm saying Joseph's only playing 15 minutes a game, but like all the minutes are going to these young guys that are 21, 22, and 23.
And Jaden Ivey.
Who's 20.
I love Jaden.
I mean, and Cade's not even there because he's hurt. So you
Right.
know, they're gonna have the youngest starting five in like basketball history. They're gonna be like the Fab Five, like Michigan. They're gonna be the Michigan of the NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And the bench is all gonna be under 25. Dude, the bench is like Bagley, Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
Your bench, there's so many top 10 picks in this team. It's or at least lottery picks on this team. It's kind of crazy, like that. This is.
I've always said that in the NBA, unless you're like a freak, like a lot of these young kids aren't even getting time to develop. Like, and they don't. That's like 25, 26 years old before they start like showing what they could do in the NBA. I mean, people could use Wiggins as an example. To be honest with you, it took him forever to find his niche. And
De'Aaron Fox.
Fox is another one. All the Kentucky guys, man, I feel like a lot of them took a while, except for maybe like Booker.
Yeah, Wall, Davis.
Cat was pretty good right away.
Yeah.
But a lot of these younger, you know, they take a while.
Even, I mean, not to the extent, but even like Shea took 5 years to become like a bona fide superstar. Like this dude, I mean, he was good before, but he came out of nowhere to be this good.
Now he's probably one of the top 15 players in the league.
Yeah, literally.
So then obviously Gary Payton II goes to Golden State from Portland. The funniest thing about this is Jordan Poole and him last night did that jersey swap, and now it's like they're teammates again. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they literally played last night.
I guess with Steph being hurt, I don't necessarily think this is terrible. You know, from what I understand, Golden State really didn't want to lose him in the first place. So he'll get some clock for a little while till Steph's back. So whatever.
Oh, he's a rotation guy. He's probably part of the piece of what they're missing that gave him a little bit of that edge last year. So when they shorten that roster down, I probably would like to think he's going to be one of those guys that, you know, it'll be a random day where they're like, hey, we're going to start Gary Payton II, or we're going to throw him in the mix as like the 7 or 8 guy that comes in. Golden State didn't have to do much for me. I still think that they got to stay healthy, but when Steph comes back and they get into the playoffs, no matter where they're at, like they're probably one of the most, if not the most dangerous team to play in a 7-game series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
agreed.
I wouldn't want to run into him.
Especially with the way Clay's been playing the last 2 games. I told you, Parker, you come on the show and you talk about somebody, they hear you.
Yeah, he definitely heard me.
You're like, that guy's washed. He's a bum. And he's like, 30.
It was more than that. It was 40.
Oh, yeah.
He's like 40. Yeah, he had 40. Yeah.
I think
He was like, I'll show you
43.
what I used to do when I was healthy.
How many-
12
how many-
threes.
12 threes. That's what he had. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely listening to me. He was like, that little punk 20-year-old on a podcast was talking shit.
I'm telling you, man, every time Ben would come on here and say something bad about somebody, literally
Me.
like the next game, and Tim, literally the next game, they would ball out.
Yeah, me for sure. I'd be like, oh God, you know, that's like, I was like, D'Angelo Russell, man, he's not a winning player. Jalen Green, like last week, I was like, no, like last episode I did, I was like, Jalen Green, I was like, he's just he's not a guy you want to build your franchise around. He dropped 41 last night. I'm like, all right.
Tim, I was talking crap about Odi Aguama when we were previewing the UC game. I was saying like how he's overrated, like how he's not like even close to Xavier's bigs, and then he went out there and had like the best game of his career in the crosstown shootout.
Had a murder dunk.
Yeah, literally. They listen.
So Sean kind of brought these in, so a couple moves that I really wanted to highlight and talk about. I freaking love this pickup for Philly, getting Jaden McDaniels. You move Matisse Thybulle in a 3-way trade. This kid, such an athlete. He's awesome. So this is where Z got moved from Portland to Charlotte. I love him for Philly. I think this is another big body. It's a guy who can give PJ Tucker a little bit of a break. I'm a big fan of this move for Philly.
Yeah, Thybulle wasn't in the rotation anymore. They were looking to move on for him. I feel like we've heard him in trade rumors for 2 years now, and it was just time. Philly's in a great spot right now. I don't. These last three that we're going to talk about, these are just like tinkering moves. Where these are like contenders that just did a few small adjustments that did some stuff. We'll see how it is, but he's going to add some depth at the power forward spot. He's averaging 10 and 5 right now. I think he's a great pickup for this team, and he's going to be in a winning situation too. So let's see what he can do. Matisse Thybulle, though, going away.
We talked about this.
Hey, the Trailblazers got somebody to play some defense.
They did. And he is a defense. And he might be one of those guys that just needed a change of scenery. Like, because he was so good, I feel like, when he first started with Philly, and then just kind of, dropped
his
off.
Defense is no joke. Like, that's like best in the NBA defense. Like,
he's probably
he's all NBA level defender if he played more minutes.
He's probably the best college basketball defender I've ever seen.
Yeah, he was crazy at Washington.
I mean, besides Anthony Davis defense.
Yeah, I was about to say Nerlens Noel was up there too when he was in college before he got hurt. That dude.
But they're bigs. Like, as far as a wing, like, dude, like, he locked so many people up in the Pac-12. It was awesome. But yeah, Sean, this is, I agree with you. This is like tinkering moves of like putting this guy here. This is really good. I don't think Philly is too far behind Boston, especially with the Jaylen Brown injury and how whatever that's going to take for him to get back. So this is, I like this move a lot.
Dude, the NBA is weird, man, because Philly played Boston, right?
Got their ass
Boston,
kicked.
Yeah, but Boston was missing like Jaylen Brown and like Boston took it to him.
Dude, Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin took it personal. They weren't guarding him. If you watched that game last night, so I had some money on Tatum. I was so frustrated. They literally were like, you know what? I would rather lose this game and not let Tatum score 15 points than win the game. Like, they were just triple teaming Jason Tatum and leaving guys wide open for threes and stuff. It was so annoying to watch.
You're like the other guys in the NBA
you're just butthurt about the money situation, Parker.
Yeah, because I already like Tatum. So
you're like
Tatum's all right. I don't hate him, but I'm just not a biggest fan.
So, speaking of the Celtics, they bring in a backup big in Mike Muscala, who
me and Tim watched him cook the other night.
I was going to say, who cooked
hey,
the Lakers.
This dude shoots the lights out the gym, man.
Yeah, he does, dude. I mean, he's a great backup 5. Spreads the floor. Shoot 39% from 3. He gives the Celtics another big punch. I mean, they're big depth right now.
Is Luke Kennard still there?
Luke Kornet?
Kornet, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Kornet's been really good for them. Obviously, Time Lord, and now Mike Muscala. Like, that's a really good big depth. I mean, that's what you want, especially when it's like I'm gonna have to probably go in a 7-game series either against Embiid or Giannis, or maybe both. So,
and they didn't give up much for him either. 2 second-round picks, which are we just know those are made up. So
right, yeah, and Justin Jackson, who's like fine.
Yeah,
I didn't even know he was on a roster still, to be honest with you.
Dude, he was on.
He hasn't been playing minutes in years.
He was on that Carolina national championship team.
I remember he was like 35 years old in college. He was in college for like 12 years, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a good move for Boston. I always hate giving them credit, but this is tremendous.
I don't know if sometimes people realize how some of these little, like, for a team that's already in first place, right?
Yeah.
These little bitty moves that help, like, depthen your rotation, a guy that can come in and hit a big shot when need be. And like you said, the other night when they played the Lakers, I mean, my man came right in the game and was just like, leave me open. All right.
Stroking it.
3 of them right off the bat. And that whole team impressed me that night, to be honest with you. And I'm sure we can talk about that later, but that whole case, the way they played that game was just super impressive.
Yeah, I agree. It really was. I think they're a good basketball team. Really, I do.
I think he's a good coach. The guy, nobody knows his name.
Yeah, we were literally laughing about this on the stream the other night. I was like, the guy that coaches the Thunder.
Quick, can you guys name the Thunder's coach? Josh and Sean?
I can't.
No, but it's funny you say that because when they showed him on the sideline, I was like, why do I not know who this guy is?
That's what. No, yeah.
Because he's not Scott Brooks.
Yeah.
His name's Mark
or Billy Donovan.
Dagno. Mark Dagno. What is it?
Mark Dang It.
Yeah.
I'm making that up, but
It's Mark Dag or Dang something. It's Mark. He's Mark.
yeah.
And he's like 30 years old.
They got Coach Mark over there. Yeah, exactly. It's a good move. And then Jay Crowder going to Milwaukee after being traded from Phoenix to Brooklyn.
Woo.
Brooklyn moves him, gets all those draft picks. I want to talk about the other teams in this first. So Indiana gets Jordan Nwora and George Hill. I really like that for the Pacers because they have so many damn shooters on that team.
Yep.
Wait, where's Ibaka going? I didn't see this.
Buyout.
I knew Trey.
He got cut.
Okay.
Yeah. So they traded for him to Indy, and then Indy cut him.
I wouldn't mind the Lakers to go after Ibaka in that buyout market. He can still shoot. They need more shooting depth for positions.
But they got Mo Bamba.
That's true.
Yeah, Mo Bamba.
Yeah, because Ibaka at this point's a center at this point in his career.
Sheck West is going to be at every Laker game now. So
hell yeah, he is. Sheck West.
Is he still famous?
The Lakers should have traded for Austin Rivers too, and definitely not. I've never heard of him since the one song he made.
Okay, I just making sure. So Sean and I were laughing about this earlier because the deal is, Crowder's not played since May 15th of 2022. But at the same point, this is a guy who was on 2 back-to-back NBA Finals teams and a 66-win team last year. So he provides something. He matters to winning teams. But this is a little bit more different because it's, if you look at everything Milwaukee has, I don't know where he gets clock because obviously you have Giannis. You obviously have, Joe Ingles has come back and you have
he's
Brook
an
Lopez.
He's an insurance policy, man.
He is a guy you can play in a playoff series. So kudos there. That's big, especially in a 7-gamer. But I'm really curious to see how they use him. Like tonight, he very well could have been useful if he was playing tonight against LeBron, but LeBron's not playing, and obviously he's not reporting to the team in time. So
I wonder why LeBron's not playing.
That foot thing.
Yeah,
I think it's just
I just broke the scoring record thing.
Too much Lobos the other night.
Yeah, absolutely. But I dig this move. I think it's okay. All right. So before I guess we get into any of the other conversations Josh was thinking about, after everything that's gone on this past week, where we're sitting now with about every team have about 25 games left of NBA basketball. If you had to pick a team from each conference right now to be in the East and the West, who are you taking?
Boston and Phoenix.
Me too.
I don't think nobody in the East did enough to catch Boston.
Yeah, I agree. But my hot take is Cleveland will play Boston Eastern Conference Finals.
I could see that.
It's not that hot of a take. It's definitely possible, but
I don't know if they're better than Philly, but
I've always said Milwaukee's still missing something. As much as I love Giannis, I know they won a title already. There were a lot of things that happened for Milwaukee to get that title. The year that they won.
Who the hell's backing up Drew Holiday now?
Javon Carter.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
he's pretty damn
probably
good.
Carter. But yeah, I mean, Phoenix kind of like, if you ask me, I know it was 2 players and Phoenix won the trade deadline to me.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, they did. Dude, they won the trade dedeadline forever.
Yeah, that's the greatest pickup of all time at a trade deadline. Maybe the greatest trade ever for nobody like.
I mean, even at KD's age right now, you could, like I said, you could plug that guy into any system, and he is a walk-in 30 points a game.
Yeah.
On 58% shooting.
No, for sure. 40% from 3 and 40 from 3. No, I said this we were talking about earlier, like Chris Paul, Booker, and KD. That's like 3 of the 4 best mid-range shooters maybe in the entire NBA outside of DeMar DeRozan. Like legitimately, I was talking about the fact like Chris Paul's going to be able to set up those 2 guys on pin downs and stuff. Like, I mean, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you can just throw it to them and they just shoot a little 15-footer. That's scary.
Our boy Jason List out in Utah said he wants to remind everybody that Ja has no problem with the West.
Yeah.
You know what?
He should regret that.
You know what?
Whoops.
I love that he said it. I don't care. I love that he wants to smoke. I absolutely love it. It might backfire. It might be a terrible thing. But I am all for him being like, I trust my crew to beat your crew. We probably won't most nights in a playoff series, but we're rolling.
Triple
With
J,
you guys.
Triple
Yeah.
J, and Dylan Brooks, baby, and Bane.
Desmond Bain.
Luke Kennard.
Hey, Luke,
That's gonna be a
can
good
light
move,
it up,
man.
man.
That's
Luke
gonna
can
be a
light
good
it
move.
up.
That's what I'm
Luke
saying,
Kennard can light
man.
it up. I watched Luke Kennard in high school. Dude can fill.
But
it
what
up.
if
I
they?
was one of
But what
the
if they
kids in high
proved?
school.
What if they proved up to this point though?
Oh, I agree with you. They have proved nothing.
No,
But
nothing.
I still don't care. Like, I want the guy with my chip on his shoulder. I really
Like
do.
Luka did. Luka did by himself what your whole team couldn't do.
Yeah.
Literally.
He made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go into our predictions? Like who's gonna
I mean,
make it out or whatever?
Oh,
Make it out of the West and East. That's what we were talking about, I think, before we got off topic or whatever. Or not off
Yeah.
topic, but okay.
Yeah.
I would say Boston, and right now with everything,
Here we go. Hot take, Parker.
I think I would go with the Warriors.
Oh,
Honestly,
okay.
If I did
Okay.
decide. I'm not gonna say the Lakers. No,
I was
I want
waiting
to say
on
that.
it.
I was not gonna say that. No.
I was waiting on it.
I think I would
At
go
that-
with the
at
Warriors
that
if
point-
Curry's healthy.
At that
think
point,
I
I was
would.
gonna get suspicious that you might be some kind of clutch guy. Parker. Like, that would have been like someone
'Cause I
like
think-
snuck you in. You're like, maybe the Lakers.
He was a Parker was an extra in the background in Space Jam: A New Legacy. He was dressed as one of the WB characters.
Because I think the Nuggets are frauds, to be honest with you. Like
I
I,
do too.
really do. And
I
then,
really do.
And then
Well,
with
they're
the
definitely
Suns,
frauds
I just
now.
want
They
to
got
see
rid
the
of
Suns play first. Like I just want to see the Suns on the floor together. On paper, it looks amazing, but I just want to see them play first. And then the Grizzlies, I just don't think they're ready yet. But
So
I
the
mean,
addition
KD
of D'Angelo Russell.
KD gives you more on the floor than Cam Johnson and
Oh, yeah, he
Bridges
does, for
gives
sure.
you combined.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, but he's not as good
Except
as
for
Mikal Bridges
defensively.
defensively. Yeah,
Except for
Defense-
defensively.
yeah. Mikal defensively is pretty unreal. Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. So, do we want to get into the whole scoring title thing?
I don't think you want me to comment on it.
I've already had your comments on it. Like,
I
Here's
was
what
like, I was like, I'm gonna sign out.
here's what I'll say. It was a cool moment. Like, I know that they should have won the game. I know that they put way too much into it, but like, they do that in every fucking record-breaking situation in every sport. It happens. It's just everyone is like, they took so long to do the ceremony. Like, go back when Barry Bonds broke the home run record. Same thing. When Tom Brady broke the touchdown record. Same thing. I don't watch hockey, but I'm sure when Wayne Gretzky scored the goal for the all-time lead, if that's what he has, I don't know that for sure, but I'm sure they had a moment
I just know
where he
he's
had a
the
standing
goat of
ovation
hockey. So yeah.
and he got handed the puck.
You may be right,
Whatever.
but for me, Tim, what I saw was they were trying so. LeBron was trying so hard to break that record. Like you could tell from the moment he touched the ball in the beginning of the game that he was going for that record. And it was almost to me like the win didn't matter. Like I just want to get the record and that's it. The win doesn't matter.
I mean,
He's
well,
probably sick of hearing about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, when he walked in, didn't he have a set of headphones that had the amount of points on the top of his band? I think he did. So like he was already prepared. His main goal for that evening was to do it. And I'm with both of you guys on this one. I think it was a cool moment, but I also partly agree with Josh here that the loss was kind of a footnote in it because when I was actually reading it, because I didn't stay up to watch it. It was on late. I don't stay up that late, but I don't stay up that late. So I wasn't gonna stay up till midnight. But like when I was reading about it, and then I actually went back and looked at the score and I was like, they lost? Like that was kind of like I don't know. It was like nobody really cared, but at the same time, you got all these teams jockeying for, playoff position and everything. So I don't know, man.
There were two things. There were two things in the game that happened that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And the first one was there was a play where the Lakers came down and they didn't score, and OKC kind of got back on a fast break, and LeBron didn't come back on defense. And OKC turned the ball over, and Westbrook got the ball, and he threw a really bad pass to LeBron. And the reaction that LeBron had to the pass, the reaction LeBron had to the pass, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man! Like, this dude didn't even get back on defense. And then after he broke the record, and I thought that part was cool, and I didn't stay up and watch it either. I saw after he broke the record. From, I think it was like 10 seconds left in the third quarter, maybe. It was something around like towards the end of the third quarter. The fourth quarter, you're telling me LeBron averaged 12 points a quarter for the first three quarters, and then he only scored 2 points in the fourth quarter. I'm saying, like, after he got the record, I felt like he was just done at that point. Like, I'm not going to will my team to win because I got the record already. So I'm just going to shoot 2 shots in the fourth quarter, and if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. I don't think OKC is good enough to change their defense to get hit for him not to have more than 2 shots.
I don't know if it was necessarily like that per se. Like, I understand what you're saying, but like, we had the stream, like, which you can go back on our YouTube channel and check it out. And we're kind of like watching. It's like something did seem weird, like the whole Westbrook thing that it was reported. And Davis just being like nonchalant about anything whatsoever in the game.
Him sitting when everybody else, like, because he is such a LeBron stan. He, like, do you think that rubbed the other guys wrong? Do you think that's there's like a possibility?
I think they're probably sick of losing. It's probably a big part of that, obviously, because like if you look at the presser at the end, Davis is like, they're like, what do you guys need to do better? And he's like, win games.
Well, I will say this. I feel like, and I've said this from the beginning of LeBron's, like, LeBron is the most physically gifted basketball player of all time. He has the most God-given talent of any of them, but I've never thought that he was wired like Jordan. I never thought he was wired like Kobe. I'll say that all day, all night, and I'll stand by it. But
yet he has 38,000 points. So yeah, he's not wired like those guys.
Oh, no. He has more God-given talent, and he's played 20 years. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, but he does not. There is something that is not wired the way those other guys were. And I feel like, and I was thinking, and I literally thought about that, like when you guys were texting yesterday back and forth about this, and I thought to myself, like, if Kobe Bryant had beat the scoring record and they had lost, I know he would have celebrated like hell, but I also feel like he would have probably made a comment at the end, because this is just the way that he always was, because he was always chip on his shoulder. He would have been like, well, we lost too, which sucks. He would have said that, but I don't know. There was just no acknowledgement from it. So
I don't think Kobe would have celebrated at all that he won the scoring record.
Yeah, you're right. They would have let him have it like they did his last game, when it's like, oh, we played defense when he scored 60 points his last game.
Yeah, right.
that was the
okay,
same.
But you guys are. I know they won. They ended up winning that final game, but he took 50 shots.
Right.
You're talking about LeBron chasing again. He took 50 shots. He shot like 30-something% and took 50 shots.
Well, and who'd they play that?
So
day?
he was definitely
Utah.
chasing that.
They played the Jazz. Yeah. So, and they were just kind of,
and the Jazz had just gotten eliminated, so the Jazz gave 2 shits. They literally got eliminated like 30 minutes.
I think I'm talking more about if Kobe was going for the scoring record.
I know.
Like
I was just
LeBron
made the point about chasing it. I was like, well, Kobe definitely was chasing to drop 50 that night.
Oh,
everyone get out of the way and give me the damn ball.
Yeah,
that was it, man. And that's very similar situation. But it is what it is. He's got the scoring title. I do feel like now that he has a new roster, he's really going to have to buckle down, and this is really going to have to, like, we're in the twilight of LeBron's career and everything. If If he wants to make another run for a title, it is time right now. And Davis needs to be healthy and everybody needs to be all in. And if they do that, who the hell knows what could happen? They could 100% make it to the Western Conference Finals. You know, it could happen, but everyone's going to buy in. So that's my take on it.
It's fair. But my point I was making too is like, I see what you're saying, Josh. Why is it would irk that Michael Jordan broke the playoff record in a playoff game that he got swept? They won 30 games that year.
You're talking about you're talking about a young Michael Jordan in his third season in the league.
Sure, but like one's like
that's the same. LeBron gets hate for going to the
finals.
No. I'm not.
Did I ever mention Jordan in any conversation about this?
I'm not saying you
record?
did. I'm not saying whatsoever, but it's a conversation. It's like everyone's like always looks over. Like, oh man, he scored 63. He was unbelievable.
You guys also have, like I said, you're taking a 23-year-old kid that was playing against arguably one of the top 2 or 3 teams ever in a 5-game series. You know, you're playing against 5 Hall of Famers on one team, and Jordan couldn't have won. He couldn't have won that game with any Bulls team ever, except for maybe the '96 Bulls. Period.
Are we talking about 86? Are we talking about 1986?
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking about 86 playoffs against the Celtics.
We're talking about probably like one of the greatest like top 5 teams of all time. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's super overlooked. Yeah. It's like we just always like that. It's never mentioned like, but they got their ass kicked.
I think the context is different.
I wouldn't say so.
LeBron is like reign supreme right now. He's like, I'm LeBron. Like if a young LeBron was getting swept, like when LeBron got swept by the Spurs, I mean, it was what it was. Like a young kid that took his team to the finals who just was not ready yet. There was nothing he was going to do to beat that Spurs team.
I agree.
Yeah, he would have had to average 50 a game to beat that team.
No, he still wouldn't have won.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm just saying. I feel like we just keep bringing up like he did this, but he lost. It's like he's not the first fucking person to lose in a legacy moment. He's not.
Lost. Actually, LeBron's lost in every legacy movement.
2016.
No, I'm talking about every legacy moment he's ever had about breaking records and breaking stats. Every single one of those games he's lost.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not the first person that's lost.
What other ones are we talking about, Josh?
I'm just talking about like
I think he's talking about when he passed like each like went to second.
Yeah, when he's passed Kobe, when he passed Jordan.
Oh yeah, you're right. He has. Yeah,
he's lost every game.
I didn't know that. I didn't
because my point is I feel like the moment's bigger than the game at that point, and I don't understand why.
I mean,
I've always felt like that.
I mean, I will say this. Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say the only grace that I can say, you know what? Like, you deserve that. And that else, like, at some point, he's always failed me at some point. Miami only won 2 out of 4 championships. You know, he went to the Lakers, and you know you have probably two of the top 5 best players in the league, and something's always happening where you guys can't make it to the playoffs, or you lose in the first round, or you know, ownership's doing this, and like, I just want to see you win games at this point. I feel like the Lakers have a roster constructed that they can win. But there's all these other things that get put, like there's always something that's going on. Westbrook's this and AD's that and LeBron's this. And I was like, LA's like for real showtime. Like it's Hollywood. I feel like LA is just Hollywood and it's not basketball right now.
I feel like that's like everywhere now, but Milwaukee and Golden State though, as far as like successful teams. Like I feel like there's the teams that are like, we play basketball here. But all these other teams, we've got all this shit going on that we got to make sure we're keeping an eye on.
You know what I mean? I feel like the whole league has got. I feel like the drama has heated up like pretty much anywhere at this point. And it always is the team that rises above all that crap that ends up winning everything. I mean, the year that Milwaukee won, I felt like that was just like some fundamentally sound basketball, and they ended up they won by defense, and Giannis just willing himself, doing everything he could to prove that he was the best basketball player on the planet that year, so yeah.
Same with Toronto. We'll always forget Toronto won that title because it's just like, it's always like, oh yeah, they did win a championship, did they? But it was also the same thing. It was like, those dudes were just like, whatever, we don't care who we're playing against. We're just going to go out there and play. Well,
yes.
Didn't mean to get everybody all heated up there. Just kind of
when we bring up legacy stuff, we all get a little bit angry.
I mean, because everybody has their bias, so it's just like you're gonna have.
That's why I hate the GOAT debate. What have we ever? What fact have we proven in 10 years that's changed anyone's argument?
It doesn't change anybody's
Nothing.
Argument. It's just
why do we still do this? Why do we still do this?
Well, and that's why we don't have the GOAT debate on the show.
It's rule number one. Number one.
Because nobody's ever going to be like, you know what? That's a good point. You're right. Nobody's going to do that. So it's like, you just
no. The only time is when someone's like, then we talk about those two guys and someone's like, well, Kobe, and everyone goes,
then you can have it. Yeah, no.
You're out. You're gone.
I feel like we don't get as many and Kobe debates anymore. I feel like that's kind of been it's been pushed back a little bit.
When people put Kobe like in their top 3 or top 4, I just like, it's like every single stat, award, anything goes against that completely. But then people will just be like, but he had that mentality. Okay, if you're giving that argument, then that's Jordan. You can't say that for Kobe too, when Kobe didn't do half like Kobe only won 1 MVP, 2 finals MVPs. Shaq was the best player on 3 of his titles. And it's just like, I don't know.
Kareem.
He should be like, yeah, I agree.
I mean, there's a lot of justification that Kareem might be the actual GOAT, if we were gonna say like
full
anything,
body career,
it's like the guy made 1 3-pointer his whole career and it was an accident, and he had to pass. He had to go through Wilt Chamberlain and all those other big guys and everything. He had to play 4 years of college basketball. Like everything about Kareem, you look at him and you're like,
and dominated college basketball.
And you know what's crazy?
He's got 5
he won
rings,
6 MVPs.
6 MVPs.
If you watch the winning, the Showtime show that was on HBO, that almost kind of helps the argument for him.
It does.
I understand like the Kobe fan base. I totally get it. Like it's just, it's the guy you grew up with that you fell in love with. But I do think even though I do think he is, a top 10 basketball player of all time, I do think we immensely overrate him.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a conversation about who's the best because I don't think that longevity of a career should matter as much. Like when a guy was playing at his peak, how good was he compared to everybody else? So that, if you start saying, well, you got to look at totality of peak, that automatically will X out guys like Larry Bird, who hurt his back and you didn't get to see him play, but
Magic
you knew
Johnson.
that when he was playing and Larry Bird was the last guy to win back-to-back MVPs. I mean, so if Jokic doesn't do that this year, you're still saying, hey, Larry Bird was the last guy to win back-to-back MVPs. Who's done that? Right? I mean, that's got to speak for itself. You talk about guys like Wilt that we didn't get to watch play. And you hear all these folklore stories. He's very equivalent to Bo Jackson. We heard all these things about him, but didn't actually get to see it.
Bo
so
Jackson's sports Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like Wilt Chamberlain's the same way. I feel like he's the Paul Bunyan of basketball. They're like, oh, he did the high jump and he ran 100 meters in this, and he did, and you're just like, the dude was 7 foot something. Really, did he really do that?
Yeah.
I've always said
he slept with 10,000 women or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like the one guy that's maybe playing that doesn't get the credit he deserves, and when you look at the totality of his career and you look at how he's built, the size of him, I was like, I don't think Steph Curry gets enough credit for what he does in a league where he's 6'2". Really, on a good day, he's 6'2", and he's dominating the league at that size, winning unanimous MVPs.
Not just dominating, changing the whole league.
Yes, dominating
Changed
and
the entire
changing.
league. Yeah.
I was like, what would happen if Steph Curry was 6'8"?
I just think I agree with that completely. As his career, he gets overlooked. I think he got extremely overrated for one season, and then that sort of like everybody hopped on, and then he just like you showed like, okay, LeBron is definitely better than this guy. But overall for his career, I think he's definitely underrated, like in totality, because I think he's probably a top 15 player now at this point, or close to it.
He's trying to sneak in the top 10, man. He wins another title or two, and
if he wins another one, I feel like he'd be close to top 10.
I think he is top 10.
Think he's top 10?
You think he's top 10?
I would say like top 15. I would say 15.
4 NBA championships. Already the all-time leading 3.
One Finals MVP though. That hurts for.
Yeah, but he should have had the first one.
Yeah, but those
he really wasn't good in that series though, compared to like what he did all year and stuff. Though I understand, like, yeah, he probably was still better.
He averaged like 25 points a game in the series, and we said he wasn't good.
I mean, but I'm saying like
it wasn't 35, Josh.
Yeah,
the whole season he was, you know.
But I think I'd put him top 10. I think you take into point the fact that like he literally has changed how basketball's played. I think that alone puts you up then and there.
Yeah,
I know. So again, what did Kobe do to change basketball?
Everything Michael Jordan did. He just copied it.
And was a little worse.
I love Kobe, so I'm not trying to insult Kobe. And I know people like if you say something bad about him, people just jump down your throat. But I think we got to be realistic about it at some point. So I really think we should probably close this out before this gets angry and people like and
like we're not gonna have the GOAT debate. We're gonna kind of have it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn it, we broke
the one rule.
We had the GOAT debate without calling it the GOAT debate, is what we did pretty much.
But all right. Well, I'm glad I'm back. It was nice.
Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. And we will be back and check out all of our podcast places and buy some merch. See you, everybody.
See you.